there was a split with Beyonce and Adidas. Um, that this is not fun for me necessarily, but this is definitely a little bit lighter, and maybe that's a little bit better. I will tell you what is funny to me when the headlines say mutually part ways. My rule of thumb is there is no mutual part ways. People don't just go into the office and be like, you know what? I don't think I want to work here no more. It's like, man, we was just about to fire you. Like, we might as well just say we was. No, there was some disagreement clearly. And it's like, you know what? So we can save face. Let's just say we both had creative differences, and we'll go on our way.
You can't fire
No,
Beyonce.
no, absolutely not. So mutually part ways, or she fired y'all. Like, we wasn't even really feeling Adidas for real. Like, we finna take this somewhere else and bounce. Um, I I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of conversations I've had with you in the past, and I'm pretty sure either I was talking to you or Alex before when the news first came out of it going to Adidas. I know for a fact I was talking to Alex, but I was like, this should be good. This should work. But every venture that she's had, it hasn't worked. Um, and I guess it started off super strong,
Yeah.
obviously, but something about Beyonce just not being able to sell shit outside of music. And I don't think she'd be trying too hard. Like, I don't feel like she's like a try hard and she just fails at it. It's just something about it. It just
It
doesn't
don't click.
translate.
It don't click outside the beehive. I don't understand.
I don't even
I don't
think it clicks
understand.
there, to be honest.
That's what, the beehive is either the beehive is not as large as I thought, or yeah, no, there's no or. That's it. Either the beehive isn't as large as I thought, or they're just not, they're just not consuming at the level that I would assume stands consume on. Um, I think the problem is there's no and that kind of we'll talk about that too, but there's no real hype around it. There's no hype outside of the diehard Beyonce fans, and like you said, for the diehard Beyonce fans, even within the Beehive, there's not necessarily a hype around it that you feel when Travis Scott drops something, or even like I don't know, Cynthia Lou, the Cactus Plant Flea Market collabs on something. Like there's just certain brands that generate hype for some reason, and some that just kind of don't. And I feel like for you to have a collection as expansive as her run with Adidas is, you kind of have to have that hype behind you to help you move some of that stuff, because there were some big collections. Like it wasn't like it was just like a couple tees and a couple sweatpants, and like no, it was like full. Hey, these are clothes, and like so. I think that's like kind of the tough part about it, and even the kicks were sitting. So it was like even the thing that Adidas does is like you know her updated version of a colorway on a sneaker
Oh,
that they're trying to push at the moment. It's just not working. So they got a million forums, but this is the Beyonce forum, and it's just like it's for some reason these burgundy and tan shoes just won't sell.
I hmm. Uh, so when they first started, I remember being like, this should be good for her because before it was at Top Shop and it wasn't really hitting on much. You would see it when you walked in Nordstrom, but I was like, oh, I didn't know they had this shit here. Um, so I figure, okay, Adidas does athleisure better than anybody.
Right.
Well, not better than anybody, but that's kind of their thing. That's their state. I think it's better than Nike's, but it is what it is. That's their lane. And it started off like, we're gonna fit everybody, we're gonna have it on shelves. Other people are gonna get them. They were sending out these boxes to the influencers. They were sending them out to celebrities and all this other stuff. And it did have that major hype. I don't know if we ever really saw Beyonce wear them outside of a lookbook. I don't, not that I remember, but I also don't really see her like out. It's unless it's like
Good
a
point.
like I always make this joke with Al. It's like, man, it be events that I know Beyonce's there. Like, it's not just like I know she's there, and you don't see a picture of her there unless she posts a picture of her there.
Yeah.
So it's like the box at the Super Bowl, the LA one where Jay-Z's up rapping. the Still Dre shit and you know that part that he wrote, it's like I know she's there. I'd seen her there, but I only saw literally everyone else in that box. Kevin Hart was in that box, you know, like who was there. It's like I never seen him there, so we don't see her wearing it. I guess it's hard. Like I feel like everybody else that we care, even we see Drake and Nocta, and I'm not buying that shit, but like at least I see him in it. Um,
He cares about it.
Oh, he absolutely cares. Like he raps about it. He puts it on the side of a plane, you know, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I don't think it's hard to tell because I'm not an expert, obviously. But like, what could be why she can't connect? I said a bunch of reasons why, but why can't she fully connect for it to be successful, like sustained success outside of music?
My head just now was like, cause them niggas saving money for the tour. Like but it's like that can't, that can't be it. Um, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I like when I think of the Beyonce fan or the non-Beyonce fan. Um, yeah, I'm just thinking that it's just kind of not her demographic. Like, who needs to buy these things are just isn't her demographic. Um, Probably the people that got money to spend on it. They're the same people that argue like, "Oh, well, we like Stephanie Mills better." That are like not old, not even old. Like I'm talking about the ghetto ones. Um, yeah, those ones that just don't connect. That just don't like Beyonce. Like they are. It's kind of like the WNBA thing, where it's like the people who you need to buy this shit aren't buying this shit. So then now we got to look around and be like, well, why isn't it successful? And the reason I think that it's not successful is just because it's just not that much. Like she doesn't have that many fans. That I'm not gonna say she don't have that many fans, period. But a lot of people don't like Beyonce. Beyonce is kind of like a fixture at this point. She's just there,
Yeah,
and those that get it, and those that don't will always have a problem with it. And I guess out of those that get it, only a small select few of them will engage with her outside of music or outside of touring. Um, so I think that's
yeah.
where that's that weird space that she's in where she has a lot of fans or she has all of the visibility, but turn that into dollars, like you said, outside of music is tough just because everybody that sees her doesn't like her, and then everybody that likes her is like, I just like the music.
I you know how I've said before from episode one that I can track everything back to racism in some way, and I feel like a lot of times it be a lot of white women. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a fair share of black women too, but it be a lot of white women that be online that be like, I don't understand it, I
I
don't get
just don't
it,
get it. I
I
just
don't
don't
this
get it.
doesn't, I don't know why you would spend your money there, and it's like I I live with a Beehive member and
God,
I will hate on a record before I even listen to it. Like, and I was a huge not a, I was a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Beyonce, but like when you live with the Beehive, it make you be like want to be hypercritical on some hater shit. And so the last few albums was really good. Like they're really really good albums. And so still me hating. Like it took me so long to listen to the visual album. It took me so long to listen to Lemonade. So I'm hating. Like everybody's on line talking about this. Jordan, I seen him posting about how great it was, and Jordan usually has a pretty firm thumb on, at least for me, on like what sounds good or what doesn't. And I'm like,
right.
damn, he's even posting about this. I'm like, whatever. I'm hating. And then I let it play one time, like maybe 2 weeks after it came out. I'm on the treadmill, and I'm like, all right, this is great. And then it went from, oh, this is cool to like, this is great to like, nah, this the best shit I ever heard this year. The best shit. Why is she going this hard, this far in her career? She could just coast. And so when I hear, it's like, it's been polarizing. And I'm like,
Yeah, and I think that's just the weird part about it is Beyonce is one of those artists now where it's like either you get it or you don't. And it's just like, how does everybody just not get this? Like this is just good shit. Like, this is just good music. Um,
There was a thread they were talking up. It was a thread they were talking about the clothes and how the shit was not wearable. I was like, tell
And
me
the
you don't
thing
know
is,
how to
I think what they're thinking about is like the chaps, and it's like, oh yeah, you're not gonna buy, don't buy the chaps then. Like I don't know, there's other shit
it's
on there, other
it's
chaps.
obviously a costume. Like that is that. But if you telling me that out of that these massive collections, you can't find one thing that is wearable, tell me you don't know how to dress without telling me you don't know how to dress. You just literally grab something from the mannequin. There's Beyonce puts out a lookbook where she walks through the screen wearing something, walks off, walks back to the screen.
And it was like they were like literal campaigns. It was a
Yeah.
theme behind it. It was a, you know, they had the video like you said. She had the lookbook thing that she used to do. So you know, it wasn't just like she was phoning it in.
No.
It should connect outside of people just, you know,
And I
uh,
think the prices got a
being
little bit
haters.
too high. Got a little bit too high. There was like a $400 blue icy fur with a big Adidas logo on the back, and I was like,
That
ah,
there's and therein may lie the problem is that maybe Adidas wanted to be too involved.
they priced them out because at some point she made it seem like this was going to be something that was very inclusive. Which when I hear inclusive, not only do I think sizing, but I think pricing. And as soon as you start adding pieces, $400 or $500 pieces, I'm already like, look, I'm not getting no $400. I'm not spending $400 or so with a Nike check
Or anything, and that
or
was
the
the thing.
Adidas logo.
So I do remember a lot of stuff had the stripes on it. So if you're the type of person that just like wants to go without logos, um, like I'm not a person that wants to go without logos, but if I got logos on, then I need all my logos to match.
Yeah, and that's why I like that black jacket. There's a picture of my Instagram of wearing a black jacket, and the three stripes are very inconspicuous. Like they're there, obviously, but it's like it almost unless you're really hip to it, you may not necessarily think. Because Tom Brown has four stripes, not thinking you're gonna confuse it with Tom Brown, but in general, stripes is just kind of a thing.
Yeah, stripes is just kind of stripes.
Yeah,
Um, you know, if you can pull it off, you can pull it off. And I think that's the thing. Like you said, if you guys are just looking at stuff and being like, well, it's not wearable out of these large collections that she's putting out, then it's kind of on you. And I think that if anybody doesn't like Beyonce or doesn't get Beyonce, it's just kind of on them. Uh, I think you know, certain people I just try not to engage with. Yeah, and those are like the type of people like you have. If I'm noticing that you have like a bad opinion on something that's just like kind of like you don't you don't like Beyonce, like it's kind of like hard to not like, you know, she doesn't do anything. She
and,
doesn't like
and
she's only seen when she wants to be seen. All the music's good.
and I'll ask. Like I don't mind engaging. Like, what is it that you don't like? And typically they don't have shit, and I'm like, okay, so there's some twinge of racism there. So I don't know. Like there's some to me, I'm even further on the other side than you. If you don't like Beyonce, there's probably something wrong with you. Like
Big up.
price
Ball
there's
man, he
pri-
likes Beyonce.
Olivier likes Beyonce.
Yeah.
Uh uh always been a big fan of Olivier. Does pretty cool stuff. Literally the news were a day apart. Beyonce's not cool enough to sell Adidas shit. And then boom, she's cool enough to have Balmain Couture that you'll never see unless you got the coins, as Nene says.
Bro, you know like they're not selling that shit.
Yeah,
So one off. He said
yeah.
that's like that is crazy to me. And I guess it's probably not it's not I don't think it's unheard of, but that's wild for like somebody to have their own
Course,
whole
collection.
ass yeah, collection dedicated to them. Just because it's not like this is like, oh, was you know, Ralph did J Lo's wedding. You know, if you talk about Beyonce, you gotta do J Lo. But Ralph did J Lo's wedding, and you know, those
Dolce
are her
Gabbana did Courtney Kardashian's wedding.
those are her dresses.
Yeah,
She can say that. These are my dresses. But it's also for your wedding. You just never woke up on a Monday and was like, hey, well, you know, here you go. I love that album and I love you.
yeah. This is all the shit I thought might look good on you, and here we go.
Amazing.